Yep, I'm recording.
All right, everyone, welcome to the EIR program. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining in on this webinar called Introduction to the Engineer in Residence. And this will be presented by myself, Bhumika Sood, and Niyati Rao. Throughout the webinar, we will have interactive slides where we encourage you to participate and let us know your thoughts and opinions in the chat box. Slide, please. Let's begin by looking at behind the scenes. The Engineer in Residence program is curated by the Engineers of Tomorrow team, which consists of Erica Lee Garcia and Rebecca White, both who manage this registration. And also, me, Bhumika, and Niyadi had the amazing opportunity to be their summer interns. Next, please.
So, what is Engineers of Tomorrow? Engineers of Tomorrow is a venture of Engineers Without Borders Canada. We partner with engineering companies, professional associations, and educators to transform the engineering profession. We want the profession to be more diverse. We want people in the profession to have the ability to learn from their failures, to innovate, and to solve the most important problems of the 21st century. We believe in the power of engineering outreach to shape the future, and that's why we do world-class engineering outreach, and we inspire and instill capacity in others to do the same. By shaping the public's perception of engineering, we can change its future. You can learn more about what we do at engineersoftomorrow.ca.
Another great way to spread awareness and fulfill our mission to promote engineering is through sharing our engineering story. So I, Bhumika, will tell you my story. Let's start at the beginning. So my dad's job enabled us to move around from country to country. I started my schooling in, I continued it in India, and finished my high schooling from Canada. Having lived and studied in different parts of the world, I was exposed to different people, different cultures, but one thing never changed: my interest in STEAM: science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. And the feeling that I was part of something bigger. And because of this, I thought architect was the perfect career choice. I could apply my skills as well as my artistic abilities. Never had that connection or that feeling that I was meant to be doing this. And I realized I was missing one crucial: the need to make change in the world. I wanted to contribute in making as small as an impact possible. Through this, I realized maybe I should explore the worlds of engineering. Engineering is diverse, and I wanted to have different options, which made me choose management engineering. And a little about what management is: we learn to analyze how organizations operate, and then we apply engineering skills agency. And so far, I've completed my first year at University of Waterloo, and I'm passionate about continuing to develop my skills. What about you, Niadi? What's your story?
So, when I was younger, I've always wanted to. Sorry, one second. When I was younger, I've always wanted to do something that would help others. So I've always, ever since middle school, I've been part of a club known as Nirui, which is a part of Free the Children. And Free the Children is a worldwide development charity and youth empowerment movement. And we did a lot of things. So we held fundraisers and we raised awareness on social issues such as child slavery and even other issues throughout Canada as well. And another thing that I've always been passionate about is the environment. I believe that in order to help the planet, we need to help the planet today, and we need to help the environment because of climate change and global warming. So I did research, and then I did research about what types of jobs I could do in the future that could help the environment or could do something towards environmental sustainability. And that's one of the reasons why I ended up choosing engineering. Another thing is when I was in grade 11, I was sort of deciding what I wanted to do in the future. And my brother is actually in chemical engineering at Ryerson University, and I saw him go through engineering courses, and he would stay awake till 3 a.m. to finish up his assignments and to study for exams. And then he would have to wake up at 6 a.m. just to get to class. And I saw how much work he had to put in to do engineering. And that kind of made me not want to go into engineering because of how hard it seemed. So my brother told me that maybe I should go into accounting because his friends were in accounting programs at the time. And he told me that they had more free time than he did. and I was considering it because I thought that I didn't want to go through the struggle of engineering. And then I was looking into accounting courses and looking to see if I would enjoy accounting. And I realized as I was going through the content that accounting wasn't for me. It wasn't something that I was interested in, and I wasn't going to be happy in the future with an accounting job. So I totally scratched the idea of accounting and I looked into chemical engineering, which my brother was doing, and I looked up the definition of it. And the definition that I found was that chemical engineers create processes to take raw materials and turn them into useful products. I also learned that chemical engineers had the ability to work in numerous industries. So they could work in pharmaceuticals, they could work in the food industry. So there were a lot of opportunities for me to go into any industry of my choice. And I had a lot of variety to choose from if I choose chemical engineering. And that was one of the things that got me interested in choosing engineering as my future path. And another thing, as I had stated before, was I was really passionate about helping others and helping the environment. And I wanted to, as I said, I wanted to do something or a future job that would be related to helping the environment and increasing environmental sustainability. And I thought that if, as a chemical engineer, if I could take current processes in order to make products and make them more environmentally sustainable, then I would be helping the environment. And I think that's something that would make me happy. And as a result, I ended up choosing chemical engineering as my undergraduate program, and same as Bhumika, I finished first year at Waterloo. And that's my story.
All right, so what is the Engineering Students program? So it is the flagship educational outreach program of PEO, Professional Engineers Ontario, and it's basically a creative volunteer program dedicated to inspire young people in the areas of science, engineering, and mathematics. We are not just focused on recruiting kids to become engineers. We want to help them understand STEM and maybe explore it as a career once they grow up. So what we do is we bring PNGs and EITs into the classroom to do hands-on activities with students and sort of be a role model for engineering. Next slide, please. The objectives of the EIR program. So first of all, we aim to promote engineering and STEM. And we do this by, first of all, as I already said, bringing a role model engineer into the classroom. And our goal is to create a positive experience regarding STEM and to also make a good and lasting impression to help inspire the kids to contribute and make a positive change in the world. One unique thing about this program is that it is not a day long or a week long. It is spread out throughout the year and is incorporated in the classroom and is a part of the kids' learning journey. We form relationships with the kids due to their frequent visits, and what they do is lined up with the curriculum, so the students see what they learn can also be applicable in the real world. And one more extremely important is using inclusive messages to engage all students. The definition of engineer can be so diverse and unique depending upon person. So our main goal is also to break these stereotypes. Next slide, please.
So when you search up engineer on Google and you look at the images, these are the first images that pop up. Can you guys use the chat box to tell us some common things that you see from these pictures? Bhumika, what do you see from these pictures? Do you see any common themes?
Well, the first thing that stands out to me is everyone is wearing a hat.
Thomas says that there's so many helmets, and Patricia says that it looks like everyone's doing a construction job. Manuel says it seems as though they're doing oil and gas jobs.
They're all holding some sort of blueprints.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Thomas says that there are a lot of drawings. That's true. So one of the things that, oh, sorry, Claudio says that everyone seems to be on a work site, and Jigar says that a lot of them seem like they're civil engineers. Thomas says that they're mostly men, and that's all true. The one thing that when you ask kids and even adults sometimes, what is an engineer? They may tell you that, oh, engineers wear hard hats, they build buildings. And from these images, we can see that even Google thinks that engineers wear hard hats and they make buildings and they hold blueprints and they work at construction sites. But we all know that engineering is not just that. you can go into many different fields in engineering, as stated before. You can do software and do coding, or you could go into the food industry, pharmaceutical industry. You can make buildings, you can even make cars. So we all know that engineering is not just construction work, and that's one of the stereotypes that we want to break through the EIR program. If we can tell kids that as an engineer, they can do whatever they want, they can solve problems that are issues today, then they might want to pick engineering as a future path. Um, so that's one of the stereotypes that we want to break. And as someone else said, Thomas said that there are a lot of men here. And if you look closely, there's one female in the middle row and one female on the bottom row. So that's another stereotype we want to break, that only men can become engineers. From my experience at Waterloo, I saw that in one of the mechatronics classes, that I'd say around 1 out of every 20 people were female in that class, compared to chemical engineering, where I'd say around half of the class was females. So I guess raising awareness on that anyone can be an engineer can get more women into the field, and not even just women, like different races and orientations. Just making sure that everyone knows that engineering is an inclusive field and that everyone is welcome. That's the types of stereotype we're trying to break stereotypes and increase diversity. So what would it mean to have an EIR in every classroom? So engineering, an engineer could be recognized by every Ontario student, not the Google definition of engineering, but what engineering really is. You would have a strong positive engineering role models for the kids, and STEM careers could be recognized as rewarding and cool. We could have higher technological literacy in all Ontario students and better gender parity in incoming engineering classes. K to 12 teachers could be supported and confident in STEM, and we could have grassroots relationships building in the educational systems, and it's also a leadership building opportunity for PEngs and EITs.
So, what the EIR teacher relationship is like? First of all, we expect that there is communication between you and your teacher throughout the year for planning and scheduling purposes, as deciding the duration and dates of visits and also discussing activities. And we highly suggest that the activities are aligned with the curriculum so that it benefits the kids the most. Therefore, the engineer should know the curriculum throughout the year for clarity purposes. Also, the teacher is legally obligated to always be supervising and will always be there to support you. And note this is an equal relationship. The teacher and the EIR are both professionals and they both need to equally contribute into the program for its success. Next slide. All right, so now we're going to start the interactive part of the webinar where we encourage all of you to use the chat box and type in your answers and opinions. So here are a few frequently asked questions and scenarios you might come across. Problem scenario: you can't contact the teacher throughout the year and you don't know what's going on. You're frustrated that you aren't making the impact expected because you can't even get into the classroom. And I think communication plays a huge role in this program. So what do you think are some good ways to work around this? What do you think, Niadi?
So one thing that you could do is you could contact your EIR support team, which would be Rebecca, Bhumika, and I, and we could try and get into contact with the teacher or see if there's anything going on. Does anyone else have any ideas? So Claudio says you could schedule regular time slots to connect with the teacher. And yeah, I think that's a really good idea. If you can figure out times when you both are free, then it'll be more likely that you'll be able to continue keeping contact with the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other solutions to this problem? Yep, Claudio says be proactive.
All right, so the suggested solution that we give you is, first of all, try different mediums such as telephone if possible. Also, you can try contacting the school's principal because they can directly contact the teacher. And of course, as Niadi said, you can EIR support team, specifically Rebecca, as me and Niadi are only interns for the summer, and do not let a bad experience steal away from the entire program.
So just Homa was asking, do you suggest contacting the teacher in the summer or wait for September? So I think we would suggest you should try contacting the teacher in the summer, just to see if you can figure out a plan on what you're going to be doing. So it'll be easier for you to transition in the summer. Sorry, in September. So
Few
problem
EIRs
uh,
which do contact the teacher before the school starts.
so problem scenario number 2, content needed. Your teacher expects you to have all the content prepared and found on your own. You were told that they didn't have to help you at all and that they would find lesson plans and activities on your own. Where do you look in this case? Bhumika, do you have any suggestions?
Mm, First of all, I think that Google Trend you can always prepare before going in. Yeah, like Wally said, you can prepare a general type of activities to do.
Mhm. Homa said the EIR website, and Amanpreet said that he looked up STEM books on Amazon, which is a great way to find different activities and different lessons as well. Great. So these are some of our suggested solutions. So you can start out with our website, as Homa had said. You can go on to eir.ca/resources and look in our resources tab. We have, I'm sorry, we have both activities and presentations for you. Again, Google is your friend. The web has a million and one options. And you can also contact your EIR support team. Just to give you a little bit of a heads up, the EIR.ca website is a little bit glitchy, but I know that the resources tab works and you can find a program guide there which will contain different activities and different lessons that you can do in the class. And that's another great resource for things you can do with your class. Oh, sorry. Someone, Valley said that one more thing, can EIRs meet? And Mei Ling Chen thinks it's a good idea to have a network of EIRs. And I think that is a good idea. Um, yeah, share one EIR and share ideas with other EIRs as we speak the same language. I think that's a great idea as well. So we don't have anything in place for that, but we might look into doing something like that in the future.
One more thing, Amanpreet asked, are teachers available through email during the summer? There are some teachers who do keep their emails, but most of them don't until September starts. You should always try to contact them. As schools are closed, many teachers have stopped replying. Yes, yes, that's true. You might have to wait until probably the end of August or September. All right, so problem scenario 3 is disagreement alert. So you're running a session on electricity and you want to present a PowerPoint before getting into the activity. The teacher insists that the children won't pay attention and suggests only doing the activity with a brief 2-minute intro. But you don't think that this is effective. So what do you do? What do you think, Nyadi?
So I would say that the teacher would know their kids the best and they would know how the children learn the best and how to get them engaged. So in this case, I would suggest that you would listen to the teacher.
Hmm.
Anyone else have any suggestions? So Amanpreet says, give teachers pros and cons, and yes, do go with the teacher's suggestion. Yep, you can always discuss with the teachers the pros and cons of what your activity is, and then you guys can come up maybe with an alternative plan to what you were doing. Valley says, I think we should follow the teacher as we should agree for the content for going to the class. That's true. Homa says, if the slides are attractive, they may pay attention. That's true as well. Kids like colors and like little cartoons and stuff. So that would be a good idea to make it more attractive. And Amanpreet says, plan ahead of time. Plan ahead though. Um, Mailing Chen says it may be a safety issue to give the info and instructions first. It's true. And Claudio says the presenter must know who the audience is. That's true as well. Uh, in You might not be used to presenting to kids as your audience, so asking the teacher beforehand what the kids, how the kids learn the best, might be a great idea to do. So these are
Mm-hmm.
some suggested solutions.
First of all, you should have faith in the teacher. They know their students best. Taking the teacher's advice might help you in the long term. And also, you should remember time limits. You may only have in front of the students, and you want to make the best impact in that time. Also, you can try to come up with a compromise as the teacher will be there to support you and friendly. Next slide, please.
So the EIR student relationship. We want the EIR and student relationship to be somewhat of a teacher or mentor relationship, and you may possibly be the first impression of an engineer to the kids. They might not have seen an engineer or know what engineering is, and as a result, you may have to explain to them what you do and what it means to be an engineer and etc. We want the relationship to be somewhat of a role model relationship as well, and a friendly adult that they can trust. So problem scenario number 4, fussy student. You're in the middle of explaining the water cycle when Jacob starts screaming and speaking over you. He stands up and starts making silly faces, distracting everyone in the room. What do you do in this case? Bhumika, do you have any possible suggestions for this?
I remember from school, every class used to have that one who will go above and beyond to make the class laugh and distract the authority. But my suggestion would be that talking to the teacher since they know their class.
Mhm. So Claudio says, look in the direction of the teacher and ask for guidance. And Homa says, hopefully the teacher is in the class. The teacher will always be in the classroom, so you can always look at the teacher for help. Amanpreet said, you can invite Jacob to present or just challenge the kid in some way, which is true. And Valley also said you can involve Jacob in the program first. Jigger said, bring it to the teacher's attention, which again is a really good idea. The teacher would
Mm-hmm.
know how to handle the solution because they've been with the kids more for longer than the EIRs have. So it would be a good idea to look at the teacher and try to get them to help you out. Right. So these are some suggested solutions that we have come up with. So look to the teacher for how to discipline because they will likely already have a standard way of dealing with these things. And continue after the fact as if nothing happened. Get the focus in the room back on you and your content. Great.
Problem scenario 5, girls versus boys. So when they begin building their forces and physics session, you overhear Kim exclaiming, "This sucks. This is all boy stuff." But in response, Billy says, "That's because girls aren't smart enough to be engineers." So what do you do? What are your thoughts?
Hmm. This is a tough scenario. Um, well, Mei Ling Chen says, "Say I'm a girl and I'm an engineer." I think that's a really powerful statement. If you are a female engineer, I think that would be a great thing to say in the classroom. Claudio says, "Be humorous and say they're both silly comments." That is true as well. Another thing is you can emphasize the fact on how engineering is an inclusive field and say that there are different types of people in engineering. You could also give examples of different famous engineers that you know of that are both male and female, if you know of any at the time. Mm, great. So we'll move on to suggested solutions. Oh, Jigar said give them a small science quiz.
All right, so we suggest that you speak to Kim and Billy's table specifically, reiterate the fact that anybody can be an engineer and that a diversity of skills are important. Also, you can reiterate to the entire class the messaging that engineering is for everyone while not calling out specific students. So this is kind of a good example on how to promote inclusive messaging.
Mhm.
Next slide.
So now, if you guys have any questions about the program or if we didn't cover anything, you can use the chat box and ask them, and we'll answer them to the best of our ability.
Anything that you noticed that we forgot to talk about or you were wondering, feel free to.
Okay, so Craig says the program guide download button doesn't seem to work. So in this case, what we'll do is we'll take a look at the website and see if there's another way that we can get the guide to you. We'll probably send emails then with the guide and like further resources and information because it does seem like the website isn't working at the moment for some reason. So we'll get back to you on that for sure. Valerie said, I just got the police vulnerables check done. That's great. We need everyone to get those checks done before you go into the classroom. And he's asking what's next. So once after you get the check done, the next thing again would be just to attend the next couple of webinars we'll be having and also attend the orientation happening on September 15th. So Homa asks, there will be a one-day orientation in September. Are the teachers attending the orientation as well? Yes, I believe so. You'll be meeting your teacher there. I think that's what the orientation is for.
Is sort of like a networking event, and we about inclusive messaging, diversity, and all sorts of talks at the orientation also.
So Claudio says, is there a list of probing questions EIRs could use to start conversations with the teacher, problem children in the class? So like example is problem children in the class as a question. We don't have a list of questions that you could ask. Like we don't have anything that we have to give you for that, but we can think about making a list of questions that we could ask. And also you can try to contact the teacher and ask them right away. The thing, there might be an issue where the kids that the teachers get in September might be a new batch of kids that they didn't have before. So they might not know in the summertime whether or not there are problem children in the class at the moment. So that might be a hard question to ask them. So Helen asks, does the teacher give us a topic to do for each visit, or do we come up with whatever we like? Bhumika, do you want to answer that?
Mm-hmm. So it works as like, so once you start going to the classroom, you and your teacher will have a sit down and you will go through what the curriculum is, and you sort of come up with activities and you schedule how you want to do it. So teacher won't give you a topic. It's really dependent upon you how you want to like engage the students. For example, there are EIRs who with teacher as soon as this topic is done, you can do this activity which is related to that. That is a good way to do it because the kids are learning it and then applying it. But you are free to come up with whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. So in relation to Helen's question, in relation to Helen's question, sometimes the teacher may give you a topic to do a activity on because they have to follow the curriculum, but you could also compromise and say like this week or this month we're going to do something related to what the teacher wants, and then if you have something that you really want to talk about, then you can always ask the teacher if they're willing to talk, if it's okay to talk about this topic and etc. So Valley is asking if anybody's interested in an EIR meeting in the summer to develop topics for the class. So if anyone's interested, comment down in the chat box. Amanpreet is asking, what would be the schedule for EIR from September? Is it a strict once a month or can it be adjustable? Are there any repercussions if we aren't able to meet? So in order to answer this question, we want the EIR to go into the classroom once per month, but we know that it might not be possible with your work schedules. So you can contact your teacher and talk about when would be appropriate times to meet. If you find that you have a lot of work and you can't visit the class, then it's all right. We just want the EIRs to build a relationship with the kids, and it's hard to build a relationship if you only visit once or twice. So we would like you to visit as often as you can. There's no repercussions to not being able to meet once per month. but we would like you to try your best to meet them once per month. But again, if it's not possible with your schedule, you can always meet few times less or anything.
In relation to what you said, Homa asked how frequent is it? So there are a lot of EIRs in the past who have gone a week and rather than once a month. So it really depends on how you want to approach the program and how your work works out, how your schedule works out with the schedule of the teacher, and how did you want to be into it. It depends on you, but the expectation is at least once per month.
Joe, just to uh, answer Valley, Amanpreet said he's interested, and so is Claudio. He's interested in meeting over the summer to talk about it. Are there any other questions about the program or about the content covered? Um, so Amanpreet asks, the visit for the school, is it day long or half day or it depends? Yep, so the answer is that it depends on your schedule and how often how much time you're able to spend at the school. If you find that you only have an hour to spend, then you can go for an hour. If you find that you can stay for half a day, then you can stay for half a day. It's really dependent on your schedule and what works for you, and as well as the teacher when the teacher's free.
It's great to hear that we had a similar program to this 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Shows to go like how inspirational and how devoted people are to promote STEM and engineering.
So Mei-Ling asks, is it possible to send a contact list of EIRs? I'm interested in keeping in touch too, but I can't get to Mississauga. So I'll note down the people that want to connect, and then I'll send the emails of everyone. So I'll connect everyone through email. If you guys want to meet up, I'll write you guys down. So I believe it was Claudio, Valley, Amanpreet, and Mei-Ling, Homa as well. Mei-Ling, Homa, Thomas as well. Thomas, Jigger. So I'll send an email just to connect everyone together, Craig as well. And then if you guys want to meet up or just talk through email or talk through phone, you can do that. Leah asked, are there any other EIRs in Ottawa? There are a couple of EIRs. You can actually contact your PEO chapter and you might be able to find a couple of EIRs there. Oh, Helen's in Ottawa, Leah.
You may do reading through this app that we're using, Go to. So
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions? So Valley asks, reimbursement deadline is 31st of July. No, you can send us the reimbursement form whenever. It's just we wanted to get the PVSC forms done by July 31st, so you would have them before the school year starts. But you can send in the reimbursement form whenever. The July 31st deadline was just for the PVSC. You can also get reimbursed for your school for the supplies that you're going to buy throughout the school year, and those will be due at the end of like July of 2019. Claudia was asking how many EIRs would there be at the summer meeting. Are you talking about the orientation? Oh, or the one that you're discussing now.
If you want, we can also contact the rest of the EIRs.
10, 15. So 1, 2, 3. I have written down 10 people's names, and so I have 10 right now at the moment. All right, then we're gonna move on to the next slide.
All right, so don't forget the upcoming events. You are welcome to join. Be sure to tune in on to the diverse and inclusive messaging webinar for both teachers and EIRs, which is on 18th July at 12:30 and 5:30. And also sharing your engineering story. This is specifically for EIRs for 25th July, also 12:30 and 5:30. And be sure to sign up for the in-person orientation on 15th September, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
So there's some resources available here. So you can subscribe to our newsletter, and we'll provide sort of monthly details on what's happening at Engineers of Tomorrow. You can check out our website, engineersoftomorrow.ca, for project ideas, presentation, and more. Valley is asking, will this help in PO experience the EIR program? I'm actually not sure about that. We can get back to you on that though, once we get more information and ask others. So this is our last slide. The webinar is done, but if you have any questions, Bhumika and I are here to answer them. Thank you all for tuning in to our webinar.